This is Mark and Charity's Coffee Podcast.
Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast for 0404, Monday, April the 4th.
0404
040422. 04042022.
These crazy dates.
I was gone for a couple of days. I was down in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Hockey Central.
Apparently this weekend.
For the province of Ontario. We were down there for, and I don't even know what it's called because I'm not a member of the OMHA, the Ontario
But a
Minor
finals
Hockey
of some
Association.
sort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Looked like they had a number of divisions and a number of teams, and the hotel we were staying at was overrun with hockey families. And that's fine because that's what they do, and I'm sure the hotels need it. But we're going to spend the podcast on my shock at what goes on.
Oh, I know.
And if you are a parent of a hockey player, it'd be like, where you been, Philbin? Where you been your whole life?
Yep.
This has been going on. But then I take it a step further when I hear about things like hockey culture, and then I see that, and now some stuff makes more sense to me. And I don't know why people do it. Because it's not just what goes on at the rink. Apparently, it's just everything that goes on. And then you've got some points that I think are very valid as a hockey family whose children play minor hockey, the impact that the OMHA actually has on your child's ability to play hockey.
Not just mine, but many families, certainly.
Right.
Yeah. Of course, you need an organization to govern.
Sure.
Like anything. And hockey is wonderful. It can be amazing. When my husband and I first started dating, he was coaching at the time, and he introduced me to hockey because even though I had grown up in a town where my dad played hockey, and I knew of the arena and I knew of the hockey teams. I knew people who played hockey, but I wasn't in it because I never played. So It was a whole new world. It was amazing. Amazing people, families, experiences. We had a ball. Some of the kids he coached, we're still in contact with. The experience of it until you're in it, it's so hard to explain and express because these are bonds that you form. And with any sport, it can be so beneficial to kids and how they grow, the lessons you learn. But like everything, of course, there is the bad side to it, and the competitiveness and the pettiness and the politics, and it's awful. And I'm really, now that I have my children in it, it is a different viewpoint completely. It's still great, but very much aware more so of, we'll say, the politics side of it, because the OMHA, in my opinion, this year especially, we've come across a few things, and it's making it harder to have those experiences and harder for kids to participate. I don't think the cost of hockey is anything surprising to anyone. We always hear about the high cost of hockey, but for small towns, for smaller centers, it is getting harder and harder for families to not take advantage, but enjoy this sport. Yeah. Certainly.
I mean, I know that a hockey stick can run you now like $150, $200.
We were at a tournament a couple of weeks ago and we had a stick break, and it was $120 for a new stick.
There's that. There's the equipment.
And
we know about
cheap.
it. Then you got ice rentals. And then if you're going to tournaments, that's the traveling. But where does the OMHA come in that concerns you?
So this past year, now our center being a small town, our costs, as high as they sound, have stayed fairly low. And for our son to play hockey, as you just pointed out, was $600 this year. Okay. That's just to play. As you pointed out, that's not equipment, that's not travel.
That's the initiation
That's
fee.
to register. That's to sign the paper and say, my child is going to play hockey.
$600.
$600 right off the hop.
Per child.
I want to say here in Quinte, you're looking at least $1,200.
Wow.
Per child.
Okay.
Part of that is, because we're a smaller center, we've been able to charge admittance to our games. People charge a fee, and up until this year, it was $2, $2 to $4.
Okay.
You come in and watch a game. That money helped keep those costs down. That money paid for refs. That money paid for ice time. That money through our minor hockey organization was put back in to help keep costs down.
Right.
Tournaments, same thing. We would have tournaments, playoff season. Again, you generate revenue by bringing people in. They come to the games. They'd use our canteen. They'd spend money in our area, which would not just go to the town, but come back to minor hockey. So again, costs were kept low. This year it was, and again with COVID, that all gets thrown out the window, of course. Yeah. But this year, the OMHA has come out to say that no longer can OMHA-sanctioned games charge a fee. So there goes our gate. As well as tournaments. Now, again, with COVID, it was harder. But playoffs changed this year, too. So no longer was it a series type setup, but as you saw this past weekend essential tournaments in larger centers. So the smaller centers, again, are unable to host the playoffs because they're not happening. So there goes more revenue. So now it's a scramble for smaller areas to find, okay, where are we going to find this extra money to pay refs? Where are we going to find this extra money to pay timekeepers? Where are we going to how are we going to be able to keep costs down? And unfortunately, it feels like that's not going to happen, that prices are going to go up. So families who have several children playing hockey,
right,
or even kids who want to try hockey, who may not want to be the next Sidney Crosby, but just want to go out and play. It might not be as easy for them because as a family going to invest that kind of money for a sport that, I don't love, but you know what? I kind of like.
I want to try it.
Yeah.
It's easy to try soccer because you get them a nice pair of running shoes and off you go. They join that in the summer and whatever the fee is. Any idea, and I hate to put you on the spot, any idea then how much money this is going to cost your organization in not being able to do that?
No, I don't.
What would you make? Would maybe $50 a game, 25 or 30 people come in to watch that you would charge? Like, I'm just trying to get a feel.
I'm trying to even estimate that.
So if the $600
during the regular season, maybe that.
Yeah,
honestly,
okay.
like you would be able to cover probably the refs, which would be about that to $80.
How much in a percentage do you think Ben's cost would have been kept down? So you paid the $600, and then you've got to pay more for ice time and more, but that hopefully got covered, right?
Well, the $600, I shouldn't say it doesn't pay for ice time. That's, of course, what the registration goes for, because they have to rent the ice. So every child who registers, of course, that money then goes to pay for the ice they have to use. I wouldn't even know, Mark. I have no idea, unfortunately.
I find the whole thing interesting because I love major colleges in the United States, and the knock against the NCAA is that it's a business. So is that the business of making money? Is it the business of supporting athletes? Is it the business of trying to get more TV rights? So you know, like where's your major area of concern? Are you trying to ensure that student athletes are students? So when I hear, you know, the OMHA is making decisions based on you can't do money, it's like, are you making decisions for the OMHA or are you making decisions for hockey families?
Well, and of course, the OMHA it's focusing on larger centers because more and more kids are going to larger centers to play. And of course, the quality of hockey may be at that child's level, and you want your child to do well and to be pushed to their best.
Yeah.
So I understand that, but if you look at a lot of larger areas, the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center, a prime example, they have multiple ice pads. So you could have 2 or 3 games going on at a time. And of course, how are you going to charge people for coming in to the Sports and Wellness Center for a game? So that I believe that's the thinking behind it, because now you have these recplexes with several ice pads on them. Of course, you can't charge. You don't know where everybody's going. You could say one thing, I'm just coming in to do this and that. And that, I believe, is why they're lifting the fees, forgetting the fact that the smaller centers still rely on those fees, still need that money in order to continue to play.
Right.
So that is a valid question. I honestly don't know, because if they're keeping the families in mind, that's not helping them.
But with the OMHA then say, but we charge less for hockey players in smaller communities. Like if you're 600 and a larger, like what would Toronto play?
Oh my gosh.
So
I don't know that my kids would be playing hockey in Toronto.
Would the OMHA answer be, well, we charge you less because you're the Campbellford area as opposed to Toronto? And I'm not
that would be a great way for them
care.
to look at it.
Right.
But currently, clearly they don't at this point.
Because when we were down in Windsor, the point that I made was there were at least 3 that I know of hockey teams that were staying at the very small midline hotel.
Yep.
And I'm not judging where we stayed or how much money we spent. It was the location we needed. It was great. If you know Windsor, it's right off the East Sea Road Expressway, right on Dougal Ave. So it's near restaurants. It's easy access to where we needed to be for the weekend, on off the highway. It was perfect. So we said, let's stay there, because we had a hard time finding a place. I thought, what is going on in Windsor in the first weekend in April? Then we find out it's all of these.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that I hear about hockey culture and how, they feel entitled and all that. And I hear that stuff. And it's like, okay, it's like so much of society. And I don't, but.
And it's unfortunate it's there.
But I saw it. And again, and it's not everybody, but I understood it a little bit. And I guess, like, where have I been, right? Where have I been that I haven't seen any of this before?
And it's unfortunate you saw that because, as I said, there's the other side, which
I get that. I get
so
that.
Good. But
because
then you have this
this
experience.
is what I saw is that
and it's
kids in the hallway to play hockey. I hear about that all the time. They got the short sticks. They got the
mini
little
sticks.
nets. Yep, they got all that stuff. They're running up and down the hallways at 2:00 in the morning, and the parents are drunk out in the lobby, and everybody can hear. And, we notified the front desk that, we can kind of hear them. We'd like to get some sleep. We got things going on we need to do. And the answer was, well, they're not listening to me. I can't control it. And I thought, okay, so I looked this morning before we went on air that the OMHA has a code of conduct that when you're representing the OMHA, and I'm thinking, all right, well, parents at a hockey tournament that's been deemed by the OMHA, I'm a little bit ticked that, I don't expect them to go around and tell everybody, but if you were at the Olympics and you were to go do something horrible in the host city as an Olympian, the Olympics kind of got to weigh in on that.
Yeah.
So the hotel, they were super nice to my wife and I, and she went down and, spoke her mind, and she'll make you cry how kind she is about it. Like, she'll make you just feel awful. She's so good at it. But I was really surprised that okay, it's 10:00 at night, settle down, kids, I get it. It's a hockey tournament. But 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And the constant, and the parents and their unapologetic noise, and
I think
and it's acceptable. And it's like, no, it isn't. We wonder why there's this toxic hockey culture that says because my kids play hockey or because I'm a hockey parent, rules don't apply to me. I can drink wherever I want. I can make all the noise I want. It's hockey, so it's okay. And is that what we're telling our kids? Maybe I'm overstating. I get it.
That's not what I'm telling my kid.
Yeah, and
I've heard
shocked.
those stories, Mark. I am grateful to know that we've never had that experience.
Yeah, we
did go away for 2 weekends this year with Ben's hockey team, and yes, there is that assumption that at some point, Friday, Saturday, maybe both nights, you'll have some drinks with other parents.
Sure,
it's. And to be honest, we treated it like a vacation. Our whole family went. This was our winter vacation because, again, it's pricey. So, yeah, you do expect to have a few beverages, maybe go out for a meal with them, sit in the hallway, shoot the breeze, have a chat. That, to me, is the far side of the spectrum. That, to me, is so past us. Like, we had a curfew. The coach said, 9:30, guys, you're in bed. Now, these are 8-year-olds. These aren't 12-year-olds. These aren't 14-year-olds, but I would expect the same from them. You know what? 10:30, you guys are in the room. I'm not saying you got to go to bed, but you're not running up and down the hall. So hearing that, I would almost say that is a bigger issue with the parents.
Yeah,
That to me clearly is not just a hockey issue. That is a respect issue. Because regardless, even when we're standing in the hall, if we do get rambunctious, we will move into one of the rooms. And if that's still the case, it's like, okay, we need to break this up. Because there is that level of respect. I would be mortified. I would be horrified if I did that to someone, if I made someone else's stay uncomfortable. And I would be pissed at my children if they did that, if they were doing something they weren't supposed to be doing and affecting someone else's stay. Absolutely.
Yeah. It was the attitude of the parents at 2 a.m, the indignation.
Yeah. Well, that's alcohol probably driven too.
But again,
2 o'clock in the morning, there is no reason for you to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning. If you really need to socialize that badly with other hockey parents, other parents in general, then maybe you should look at your lifestyle.
And we talked about that on the air, and a woman had tweeted in that if you think it's hockey, curling, same thing. She was at her daughter's Bonspiel down in Whitby, and they, not being subjected to a lot of travel for curling, that they were there for a weekend and could not believe and they're a part of it and had never seen it. So I can't believe it's every tournament. I can't believe it's every weekend.
No,
but if it is, the parents coming down for breakfast, having a contest to see which one of them is most hungover as they're there in their pajamas.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not the best father. I mean, I'm not the best parent in this room right now, and there's only two of us, and I'm not the best. But, oh my God. And the thing is, I would say nothing except we keep hearing this thing about hockey culture is not right. And I look at that and I say, boy, this has to be talked about. So when we go away to these hockey tournaments, I guess I'm allowed to be like this. Hey, Mom and Dad, because you are. And what an eye-opener for me this weekend.
Absolutely.
Thank you for letting me talk about it. Because I don't think you and Wayne
because
are.
I don't agree
Ben's
with
in
that
hockey.
behavior either. Now, I'm not going to say it's not loud and chaotic, because it is.
For sure.
And we go with the intent of having a good weekend. We want to have a fun weekend, and we encourage the kids to get out and enjoy and be around your friends and have a good time. But no matter where we are, no matter what we'd be doing, hockey, vacation, even visiting friends, there's a level of respect, no matter where we are, that you uphold. I don't care what you're doing. And that is unfortunate because, you hear about that entitlement.
Yeah.
That feeling of entitlement. Well, I play hockey, I can do this. No.
It's hockey terms, so
you
it's
play
okay.
hockey, so you almost have a higher standard to keep. You're representing your town. You're representing an organization, not just the OMHA, but I've heard that more times than not from my husband, even being the president of minor hockey in Campbellford. When you step in that arena, you are representing, you are a Campbellford Colt. So how you behave is a reflection of this organization. So no matter how old you are. So I want you to behave that way. And the kids, their coach, now again, this is U9, so this would be novice, so young kids, 8 years old. They got a letter from their coach right off the beginning of the year that when you come to a game, you are expected to have not a dress shirt, but you can wear a dress shirt, but you are to have a clean black shirt on, jacket. Like he had a dress code.
Yeah, great.
For the arena. And it was interesting because my son did balk at it at one point, and we were in Center Hastings. We were at the arena back in Madoc, and my husband stopped one of the older kids coming in. He must have been about 16, 17, I think midget age. Came in and he said, "Sir, I hate to bother you, bud, but I just want my kid to see that because he had a tie on.
Beautiful.
He said, I just want Ben to see this." And I thanked the young man who did it, but he turned, he's like, "Bud, you dress well, you play well." And off he went. And I thought that's it. That's it right there.
Yep,
And that's a kid who has respect for what he's doing and a respect for himself. And that's unfortunate because hearing that story from the weekend tells me that not a lot of respect going on there.
Yeah. So anyway, good luck to everybody. Hope you had a great hockey season. Soccer's coming. Baseball's coming.
Exactly.
Turning it around.
Oh, hockey's over.
Catch your breath for about a week.
For some continue.
Right. Yeah.
But no, it's like any sport, it has so many wonderful attributes attached to it, and it can be such a wonderful experience. It's just unfortunate that there's the bad side to it.
So, and it's not all. I don't want to say it's all, but
no, it's not all.
A bit of it.
But it always takes that one, and it can bring it down for
Text us
everybody.
in if you've got some stories, 613-962-0955. Good or bad, or send along some emails. We'll share it in an upcoming podcast. It's Mark and Charity Coffee Podcast here on Monday, April the 4th. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Be sure and subscribe so that you get it every day in your inbox on Belleville, Ontario, Canada. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning.